you'll have to forgive me. I've had the flu this last week and I've lost my voice, so we're going to do the absolute best. And I'm gargling lots of stuff during the breaks and things. If you could ask the tech guy to see if he can come in and fix the microphone and see why it's not actually working, that would be fabulous. So welcome, thank you. We've got there's probably about another 20 or so coming later on through the day that are coming a little later. We've got 3 of the most amazing days for you. And I know some faces within 2 minutes of people arriving. We've actually got Bruni Bruin here, who, if anyone's in the hypnosis industry, Bruni is was the president emeritus. How many years were you the president? Sorry? The AHA. How many years were you?
I joined in 1992.
So many years anyway, and so she's already made me cry. I can't believe she's here as well. So I'm sure we've got lots of people from different industries, from different wellness industries. So we'll get to know you throughout the 3 days. Hopefully we'll get to know you as well on Saturday night. If anyone is joining us for the networking function, we can have a bit of a chat and get to know you more closely as well. We've got some wonderful crew, just a little bit of housekeeping. We've got some wonderful crew to help you out. We've got Kelly, we have Darren and Annie, my beautiful husband Michael as well. We have Lachlan as well, so we'll make sure you get to meet them throughout the weekend as well. If you have any questions, please just reach out to them at any point and they can help you out as well. So let's get started. Who's excited? Yay. Who has a book already? Yay. A couple of you? Who's always wanted to do a book? And I want everybody's hands to go up there. Everybody, yeah. Because we are going to get you so excited. Today we're focusing on the book side. Today it's all about how do we get all this genius that you've got going on in your head, all this genius that you've been accumulating over the years in your practice, how do we get it organized and out of our head? Who's ever wondered, how can I get all of this stuff into an order that's going to make any sense to anyone? That's what used to happen for me. I'd think, oh my God, I know so much, I could do so much, I could tell so much, I've got so many topics I want to write about, and I would never quite know which one to get out first, and that would stop me doing anything. And so today what we want to do is actually get some clarity about that, get some clarity about the topic that you might write on to begin with. Doesn't mean to say just because you choose one topic now that you might not end up with 2 or 3 or 4 different books or booklets that you want to write. It's about choosing the right topic to start so that you can get the clutter out of your head. And when you start one, it kind of snowballs from there, as in 10 books later for me. It kind of snowballs from there. All right? So let's get into it. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping a bit later on as well, and I'll go through the agenda and stuff. But I just want to kind of introduce you to what we're going to be working on today and how the whole 3 days is going to actually pan out. So the key for all of the whole 3 days is really about understanding how we can begin to change the way that we think about our practice and change that one-on-one model mentality in order for us to be able to work more one-to-many. For some of you who's doing workshops at the moment, where you actually might be treating people or seeing people in small groups, and then naught to many. So on day 2 and 3, we're looking at how do we do the naught to many model, which is let's get all of our genius into video, into online courses, into platforms, so that we can have pre-recorded all of that and we can sell it to as many people and help as many people around the world as we possibly can. And so we're really looking in a number of different ways, and I've got a business model that I'll show you that is based on the actual book today that builds into about 100 different other opportunities to reach people and opportunities to, of course, convert that into income for you. So who wants to earn more? Who wants to work less and earn more? Yeah? And who wants to help more people? Doing all of that. That's exactly what we're about this weekend, is showing you how to help more people than you've ever thought of helping before, while you earn more and while you work less. Now, there's a caveat to that. In the setting up of working less, you have to work a little more, okay? So I don't want you to be under any kind of misconception that you're just going to wake up tomorrow and have this magic course out on the internet that's bringing you in income. So there is a little bit of structure that it needs to happen. There is commitment and energy that needs to go into getting the expertise out of our head and putting it into order, and then getting it on a system that actually works for you. But once that happens, you do it once and you continue earning from it. How cool is that? I've got a course that I created over 6 years ago that has brought in over $400,000 and still to this day brings in around $20,000 a month. Yeah? And it's just on automation. I spent it was probably about a month building that course originally. I spent a month launching that course originally, and then it sold around $90,000 when we first launched it over a 2-week period, and then it just continues to sell. Okay? So we do it once, and there is going to be work for you to do it once. So it's about deciding for yourself right now, how much do I want this kind of business? How much do I want to help more people and get to the stage where I can work less and earn more doing it? I went on honeymoon last year. My husband and I got married January last year, and we went to Thailand. And I earned $18,000 while I was on my honeymoon. It just ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching in my inbox. Is that cool? I was sitting at the pool earning a couple of grand. That's pretty cool. And it's a business, but what we now know is that it's actually a business that inspires more people around the world than I ever thought I could as well. I get emails and messages, on a daily basis, there's a number of other incredible specialists in this room down the back that are helping me that have online courses as well. And we just get emails on a daily basis saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. The same with the book. I get emails from all over the world just saying, this book has changed my life, thank you. And that doesn't happen with me just sitting in my little clinic seeing 20 people every week, yeah? To get that kind of reach and get that kind of scope with people, then you need to actually have product out there doing it. Have to actually have your genius in a form where people can either read it, see it, hear it, watch it, view it, listen to it, whatever it is, so that you can inspire them. I've got people in Siberia who have done my courses, and they message me and go, oh my God, yeah? I had a Hollywood actress ring me and message me on Skype. And she'd bought my book about 5 years ago. She bought my Unzip book originally. And she'd just been sitting back and watching and reading it and watching me online and watching me on social media, and then rang me out of the blue and just said, I need you to be my coach. I can do this. And it's just from getting this out into some sort of form that reaches people. And that's what we want to do. That's where we want to get to in our practice, so that we can reach the kind of people that we've dreamed of when we first started. Who had a vision for themselves when they first started in the healing industry, where you wanted to reach as many people as you possibly can, where you wanted to inspire? What were some of the reasons that people actually first got into this industry? Does anyone want to share?
I just want to make the world a better place, one person at a time. And I believe in loving, so changing the world one person at a time through loving.
Yeah. Do you get that? I think in some small way, all of us come from that kind of space where we got into a place where we wanted to help for whatever the reason was for ourselves, where we wanted to help in some small way make the world a better place. And when you get to the point where one-on-one is actually burning you out because you want to make the world a better place, that's when you've really got to look at, well, hopefully before you get to that point, how do we do it in a way that doesn't hurt ourselves as well? And I'll talk to you a little bit about my journey with actually burning out about 5 or 6 years ago, which stimulated this industry with this business that I'm in now. So it's all going to happen at the same time. You can work less, you can earn more and reach more people all at once just by having books and products and a way to get those books and products out there. There's no point in having a book and having it sit in the garage. There's no point, which majority of people who do, the stats are that the majority of people who publish a book sell no more than 500 copies of that book because they don't have a system. Yeah? So until we have a system, nothing actually moves in a way. We're not reaching people. Yes, we're not making money, but we're not reaching people either. And so on day 3, we're looking at the systems that you're going to need in order to make sure that you don't just sell 500 copies, that you actually move a lot of books and then turn that into a lot of products that you sell beyond that. So in the next 3 days, we're going to be looking at a simple process to write a quality. I'm not talking about just a little e-booklet. Yeah. If you need an e-booklet for marketing to build an audience, we're absolutely going to do that. But what we're going to do is start with the principle of writing a quality book first, and then you can break that into lots of little e-booklets or content. But we want a quality book first. We're going to be looking at what to do to turn that content into an online course, and how to structure it and how to produce it, and how to then harness the online and offline media. We'll do a lot about online media, of course, social media, all of that, but I've had a lot of offline media such as TV, press, all of that stuff as well. So we're going to focus on the last day as well on how to how to pitch to TV, how to pitch to radio, how to pitch to a podcast system and actually get yourself out there as well. Okay? And of course, how to build an eager audience. So, we've got to actually have people that like, love, and want what we've got, don't we? And so we've got to learn how to build a tribe of people that want to know what you know. So, what I'd love you to do is just take a couple of seconds to think about for yourself what it is that what it is that got you into this industry and what it is that you want to achieve out of this weekend personally. And just think about a couple of things. And if you want to sing them out, I'll write them up here. And then what it is that you want to achieve, we'll just make sure at the end of day 3 that we're actually getting everything that you wanted, that we've covered everything. So has anyone got anything that they kind of inspired them to get into the industry in the first place? And what it is that they'd like to get out of it from these 3 days? Mm-hmm.
And using that to inspire people through our own experience.
That's what started you. So overcoming adversity and using it to inspire. Who's that story? You've overcome something yourself, or you've witnessed somebody close to you do that, and now you want to inspire other people to do it too. Fantastic. And what would you like to get out of this weekend?
Have my book onto ebook.
So you've written a book,
Yes.
but it's not out there now?
It's printed.
Okay, so you've got a paperback?
Yes.
Yep.
Convert that into ebook, and then from there, break down into a course about inspiring people, overcoming bullying for children, and finding our own uniqueness and be strong enough to.
Beautiful. So you want to take your current paperback, turn it into an ebook, and then you want to build that into a course that can inspire people. Yes, yes, yes. Get it. All right, who else? What got you into the industry, and what do you want from this three days? Yep.
Just to help people find balance as in day-to-day living.
Great.
We generally become self-destructive in that process.
Yep.
Bills, written ahead, usual stuff, and at the end of the day, we end up with poor health.
Absolutely. And we don't want to do that to ourselves either when we're trying to get ourselves out there as well, do we? We don't want to burn out. And what do you want to get from this day, this weekend?
Well, for me, coming here was just to open a wider market.
Yep.
And learn how to expose myself more in the nicest possible.
I was just going to say, I'm not going to write expose myself. I'll leave that to you to qualify, but open to a wider market. Yep. Who's that? You're just really open to understanding how to kind of move beyond your current little niche of clients that you're seeing, and to actually open up to the possibilities of what that market could be. Yep. Fantastic. Who else?
So I see a lot of people.
Actually, if I can get you to say your name first, because most of you I don't know yet, and we'll get to know each other over the weekend, but that would be great.
I want to offend someone.
That's all right. Oh, you're Tony. Of course, I have met you before.
Yes, yeah, we've met, yeah. I'm the one with the 6-year-old love of sparkling shiny.
Yeah. We went to a workshop. I taught them a workshop in Sydney a couple of months ago, and I've got them here with me. I'll probably wear them one day. Gold sparkly shoes, and Tony has a daughter who loves gold sparkles. So, so what got you into the industry?
Wanting to help people because you see people suffering needlessly. So they're the kinds of things you look at it and go, that doesn't need to happen.
Yep.
So relieving suffering.
Great. So relief.
Particularly, I have to say, for me now, for the next generation. So one of the things I'm personally interested in is helping people to raise kids that are, right at the beginning or your first 1,000 days, kids that are going to have less anxiety.
Yep. Fantastic.
Through life. And I think for me,
Actually, guys, can I get you to get the microphone and use the roving mic for this in case, just for some people that can't hear? It's up on the desk.
And your mic's working too.
Oh, it is? Fantastic.
I mean, writing the book's one challenge, but I think for me the bigger challenge is the marketing of it.
Yep.
And I'm really interested in, as much as possible, systematizing it so that it kind of, so that I'm assuming that there must be some kind of flow or steps that you take so that I can do this over and over again, basically.
Yep. That's the whole point. This is about an automated business. So it's not just about getting the stuff out of our head. It's not just about structuring it into product. It's also then how do we market it? How do we build an audience? And then how do we systemize that so we're not actually burning ourselves out in a different way? Yeah, and there are different styles of online courses, and we're going to go through that tomorrow and look at about 6 or 8 different types of online courses. Hello, beautiful John. I'm just recognizing people's faces as I look around the room. There are different styles of courses that you can do, and so we'll go through a list of them. I'll show you demonstrations of ones that I've created, ones that are automated income even, where they just come in with a membership site of $69 or $49 a month every month. I've had one membership program that people pay me $147 for every month, and some of them have been on that for 5 years. Yeah, they paid me $2,000 for the original course. Then they went on a lifetime membership because they loved it so much. And for 5 years, they've paid me $147 a month. That's automated income. It just comes in through my bank balance, my bank account every month. Yeah, so we'll look at exactly that. How do we automate not just the sales and delivery, but how do we automate the marketing of it as well? Fantastic. Somebody else? Yep.
Creating a better lifestyle balance and income for us.
So lifestyle. And then it was about creating income for yourself, your family, yep. And income, beautiful. And what is it that you'd like to get out of this weekend? Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. So what got you into the industry?
Well, when I first started out, it was, I worked mainly with quit smoking, and it was, I said to my husband, I'm going to get these cigarette butts off the beach, one person at a time.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. Oh my God, how cool is that? Getting cigarettes butts off the beach, one person at a time. I love. See, I can see that as a book. I can see that as a real marketing. There's a whole marketing thing that could go with that. There's lots of TV and press that could go with that. That's inspirational. Yeah, that's a movement. And it's exciting. That's exciting. Fantastic. Anyone else? Yeah? Just say your name first.
Christina. I got into the industry quite recently actually, but have always been intrigued by psychology, did a lot of coaching, sporting coaching background, and I love working with people, I love helping them to reach their potential, so that's really why I got into what I do. I'm here this weekend to learn the best way to get that out there in the biggest way, to help others reach their potential, but also for me to reach mine. Because I know there's a lot of energy and a lot of passion to give in this area.
So later on today, we're actually going to be looking at the why do we want to write a book. And we're going to use the book as a basis, okay? When I say why do we want to write a book, what I'm really saying is why do we want to earn $1 million writing a book and producing product, yeah? Okay, so that's the bigger picture, but we'll use the why do you want to write a book. So we want to go into in quite a lot of detail later on today, the impulse, I call it the why factor, of why you actually, what is going to get you up and actually do the work of breaking through your own barriers that say, I'm not an author, breaking through your own mental stuff that says, how can I possibly be a course developer? Breaking through your own mental stuff that says, oh, I can't possibly be a digital marketer. Because we're going to take on 3 new hats, don't we? We've got these hats that we wear in our clinic that say we are a practitioner of some of us multiple modalities. We're also a bookkeeper. We're also, for some of us, we answer our own phone calls and we're our own receptionists as well. We then have to try and market our business. We have to try and book our clients into our business and our practice. We have to manage our diary, yeah? And now we're going to say we're going to be an author, an online course developer, and a digital marketer. Who's going, oh shit, yeah? But they're 3 hats that you're going to have to learn how to embrace, you're going to have to learn how to love, and you're going to have to learn how to get excited about. And so to do that, we've got to have the most incredible why factor. We've got to have a burning desire inside to go, instead of watching Netflix tonight, oh my God, I'm going to produce a module on my course. Yeah? And to do that, we've got to be able to connect to that why factor every day. And that, I mean, we're going to do some work tomorrow afternoon around breaking through those mental blocks. Hey, we're in a practitioner program. I might as well do some therapy and help you actually get rid of those blocks. So we will be doing that tomorrow afternoon. But, you know, we need to understand why we're doing it in the first place so that we can stay on track with it and make it happen. One more and we'll move on, and then we'll come back to this throughout the weekend and share more of your stories as well.
Hi Maggie, I'm Sandra. Hello Sandra. So I've just written down here, the world needs teachers. So I was inspired many years ago, you know, to step up and become a teacher. I'm sort of getting the feeling lots of wellness practitioners in this room. We are on a different level. I have a Pilates business and my boyfriend is a personal trainer. So at the end of the weekend I'd like to find a simplified process. That would be one of my goals. Yep. And also to talk to you a little bit more specifically about niche businesses. Because the online business that I'm going to create is for other teachers. So there's a lot of follow the leader in my industry that, you know, everybody watches the hierarchy and there's a lot of copying of behaviours. Yep. So I want to really be able to teach people just to really own themselves as Pilates teachers.
Love it. Fantastic. And find their unique selling point too. You've got to find what I call your unique transformational message. And when you find that, and that's what we're going to be, you know, part of your whole work, the online course process is finding the unique transformation message, because the whole point of an online course is transformation. And so that's a perfect model for this. So we will be talking about the kind of courses you might want to do to the what I call the end user, okay? So the general public who want to buy a weight loss, a stop smoking, an addiction, a stress and anxiety, a depression, how to do stretch yoga, how to whatever it is. So that's the end user. But we'll also look at, you can adapt this perfectly if you want to become an inspiration to the industry that you work in. If you want to become a thought leader in your industry, then the same principle of the type of course you can create can actually target the business to business model as well. So I have courses that I do for online practitioners where I'm teaching them certifications. And then I also have my end user courses and different models of courses. But they all work and they're interchangeable. So for those of you, I don't want you to think, I don't want to produce an end user course, I want to do a practitioner program. Please don't think that that's what this is not about as well. We're going to be talking about joint venture programs. We're going to be talking about private white label programs where you can produce a course for the industry and sell it to the industry, yeah? And get them to brand it and stuff. There's lots of ideas that we can approach this weekend. Who's excited? Yes. All right, so I would love you all to share a little bit. Just turn to the person next to you. I hate this stuff when I'm in workshops, but I'm going to make you do it because I'm up here now. I just want you to turn to the person next to you and just tell them what it is that you want to achieve, what it is that you want to get out of this weekend, and a little bit about the vision. We'll just take about 60 seconds to do that. Just share amongst yourselves. All right, we might just come back to the room. Have you all at least introduced yourselves? You kind of know who you're sitting next to? Who came by themselves? 3 cheers to those of you who came by yourself. Real motivation, yeah. Who came with a partner or somebody they work with in their practice, or, yeah, fantastic. And it's wonderful when you come with somebody that's working in your practice to brainstorm on these kind of weekends together and kind of get all of because I'm going to give you 100 ideas, okay? And I'm going to give you the step-by-steps. I'm all into action. So one of the things I pride myself on is over-delivering in workshops that I do. And so I'm going to kind of quick fire. My brain thinks at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm going to quick fire with lots and lots of actions and things. If you're lucky, I might kind of give you a PDF of the PowerPoint after the program, if you're lucky, but I'll kind of decide on that later on. Oh, all right. What was that?
Whining and crying help.
Begging, a coffee in the breaks, the occasional little cake or something. Yeah, no problem. No, I'm sure that we can make that happen for you, because I think there's so much that we want to get through. We want to make sure that you can retain this. Cool? All right, and I do say cool a lot, so cool. So why are you here? What's the number one goal and the problem that you hope for in this workshop? I want you to just think about that for you right now. What's the number one problem that you have in your practice that you'd like to overcome, that you know would change? And I just want you to make a few notes for that for yourself. All right, so I'll give you a little bit of a brief. And I'm a 10-time multi-award-winning author. I have approximately 10 books. I've produced at least another half a dozen or more for other practitioners as well. And we have at least another half a dozen in the wings that will be produced by October this year, which is very exciting. With that, I also have 10 online courses, which I just love. They are my main income earners. I only work 1 day a week in clinical practice now because I love it now, because I get to choose my clients now. I actually sacked a whole lot of clients because I just didn't want to work with them anymore. I didn't want to work with the clients that really didn't want to embrace, and they were just coming to feed the wiring of the victim, yeah? And so I sacked them. And I have 1 day in clinic, and they have to apply to get into my clinic. They have to go through my gatekeeper, which is my very wicked and amazing Trish, my admin manager. And if she deems them worthy of a phone conversation with me, then they apply to have a session in my clinic or a program, okay? But I am with them 110% because I'm not worried about my bank balance. I'm not worried about the stuff that's going on in my life. I can just be there with them 100%. Yeah? And then I know that the safety and security comes from there are products that are actually helping me do that are still helping and inspiring people in the world, still getting my message out there, but I get to choose the people that I spend one-on-one time with, which is a really, really cool place to be. Who wants that? Yeah. All right. I'm the creator of the brain training model called CPR Brain Training. That stands for control what we don't want, our thoughts that are impinging on our lives, unhelpful habits, cravings, urges. So there's a brain training technique I use to control those. Then I do program. So program what you want instead, and rewire. So that's control, program, and rewire. That is my unique transformational message. And that is what we want to help get out of you in writing a book and in writing an online course. Try and find out what's your unique model that you do to transform lives. And that's one of mine. I've got a number of them, depending on whether I'm working with practitioners or with the end user. Okay? So it's the CPR brain training model. It's been taught to thousands of practitioners around the world and to thousands of end users as well, because my model is so simple to use that even the end user goes, oh my God, this so makes sense why I've been doing this, why I've been sabotaging, why I've been doing X, Y, Z. And they embrace it and start using the techniques as well because of that. I've been featured on national and international media all over the world. I won a scholarship to Hollywood to do a TV tour. I pitched to TV stations all over America. And we've been on Sunrise, A Current Affair here in Australia, Daily Edition, lots and lots of stuff. Who wants that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Who doesn't want that? No, I'm serious. Because some people go, oh no, I don't want to be that big. Yeah? But if you do, it's possible. Not saying it doesn't take work to get it, and it's not actually an overnight kind of thing. It takes effort and it takes commitment and it takes willingness for you to overcome your who am I to be the expert stuff. I actually won a book award. I got called to America, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I won a silver in psychology and mental health for my Unzip book. And so I flew to America to win the award. While I was at the airport, I got a call. I think I'd been on Sunrise about a week before. I got a call from Channel 7, the Daily Edition, asking if I would be interviewed as the expert on hypnosis apps. And they wanted to actually interview me and my opinion about a hypnosis app that wasn't even mine, that I'd never heard of this hypnotist in the world. They were actually an English hypnotist. And would I be willing to comment on national television about my opinion of hypnosis apps in general and this particular one? And I said, well, actually, I'm just about to get on a plane to go to New York to win an award. And they went, oh, really? And they said, well, you know, we've got a New York studio. And I went, oh, right, have you? And they said, so when's your award? And I said, oh, it's on at such and such a time at on this particular night in New York. And they said, I could hear them kind of clocks ticking in the background. And she said, oh, right, so that if we could get you at midnight, so if the awards finish when? And I said, oh, they finish about 11:30. And she said, so if we could get you in a taxi, fly across to the other side of New York in a cab, and get you into the studio, you could go live to air at 2 p.m. Australia time, which would be midnight in America. And I went, oh, if you think so. Thinking inside, oh my God. I'm literally sitting in the airport lounge going, and I was going by myself. I wasn't even with my husband at the time. And so I'm thinking, do I ring him? Do I just get on the plane? What do I do? And so she said, we'll organise all the questions. We'll have them emailed to you by the time you land in New York. And the awards were 2 days later. And she said, so you'll know what to prepare for in the questions. And I went, okay. Yeah? How cool is that? That was one of those moments. Has anyone had one? One of those moments where I realised that little Maggie from outback country Victoria had actually done something to make a difference in the world. Yeah, it wasn't about being on telly. It was actually about making a difference, because I was actually going to be able to share my opinion on an industry I am passionate about. You will learn I'm passionate about. On an industry that I'm passionate about, and share my opinion and influence other people. And I had to own that. As you've got to learn how to own being an author, a course developer, and a digital marketer. Booyah! So I want you all to say right now, I am an upcoming author. If you're already an author, own it, say it. I am an upcoming course developer. And I am a digital marketer. Whose body just went, no, I'm not. Whose head went, but. Yeah? Yeah. I call that the tail end. That tail end voice is actually the voice that's going to bite you on the bum if we don't deal with it. And that's why tomorrow afternoon we're going to deal with the bite you on the bum stuff. Yeah? We're going to actually learn how to get rid of that tail end voice and own being those 3 things. So by the end of this weekend, I want you to walk out of this door and actually go, and have every bone in your body tingle, am an upcoming author, I am a course developer, and I am a digital marketer. Booyah! Yeah? That's exactly what we want. Cool. Oh, these are just some of the TV. These are some of the awards that we've won. We've had, the one I'm most proud of, I've won 2 awards in psychology and mental health. I'm so proud of those. Love it. But we've just recently, I've actually published a book of one of my practitioners that I've been working with for the last year. And we just published her book. and I'll talk a bit more about her later, but I asked her to submit, and she was like, oh, I'm not an author, oh, I'm not, and she was really trying to work through those kind of barriers and stuff in her head around it. And I convinced her to apply for an award for this book in the States. And we got notification she won 2. Yeah, she won a gold in Aging, Death and Dying. Her book is A Widow's Guide to Grief, A New Normal. She's a psychologist, and her husband died suddenly, and she had to learn how to be a mum, raise children without a husband, and to live normally, keep her practice. She was the main breadwinner. She had to learn how to do that. And so she wrote her story in a book called A Widow's Guide to Grief. What's actually called A New Normal, A Widow's Guide to Grief. And so she won in the category for Aging, Death and Dying, and she also won in the category a silver for women's issues. How cool is that? And she was, I'm an author? I'm an author, I think. It's like, no, I'm an author, and I'm a 2-time international award-winning author. Cool. So this is sunrise. That was actually that's at that's the night. The blue thing around my neck. You'll actually see it in the next photograph. That's where I'm being beamed back live onto the Daily Edition TV, and you'll see my little awards banner thing there. No, I haven't had any champagnes, I promise you. By the look on my face, it looks like I've had a lot of champagne. I didn't. I waited until after the awards, after the TV interview. These are my books on the top there, and some of the books that we've actually helped produce over the last couple of years with other practitioners as well. And these are some of my online courses. And we'll go through some of these tomorrow in more detail about the styles of online courses, and there are many different types. There are sort of smaller priced subscription type models where it's $49 a month or $39 a month, or there's right up to $20,000 and $30,000 programs that involve coaching and things like that as well. So there's lots and lots of different types. Not every type is going to be right for you. We'll go through the different models and then kind of assess what it is that you want to produce. By tomorrow, you'll kind of know the book that you're looking at. You'll also know the type of course you're looking at, and we'll be able to marry the type of course that you need to create.
Are you really working less than you were?
Well, yeah, apart from this week, because this week has been mad. I've been sick as well as trying to prepare for this. So when I have big events and things like this, I work longer hours. But in reality, once I'm producing a course and producing the funnel model for it, I work hours to do that. And then once it's launched, it's launched. And even with this program, I worked really long hours to get the program and the model and the PowerPoints, to get the ad campaigns and the funnels and things all organized. For those of you where that's just me going blah, 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 because you don't know the terminology, you'll get to know that over the 3 days, yeah? So there were hours to get that in, but I remember pressing the go on the ad campaign, and I got up the next morning going, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I went, oh, nothing, because the ad campaign's running now. Yeah? And so every day I just went in and I checked how many people had registered. I tweaked maybe a half an hour, a couple of times a week. I tweaked the ads and the reach, who they were reaching, to make sure they were getting to the right people. But once it was done, it's hard work at first. Once it's done, you work less. So you tend to plan your year in kind of launches. Yeah, you think, I'm going to be launching that course in June, so I'm going to be busy in April, May, June. And then by July, once it's launched, you're kind of just managing the launch then. Does that make sense? So there's pockets of busyness that you have to own, and you've got to take full responsibility for. But once you've done it, you do it once, and it continues to bring income in for you. You normally need to, and Annie, who you'll get to meet over the course of the weekend, she's just the most amazing digital marketer, and just the most amazing, understands the language of the end user and finding that connection to them. And we'll use all of her resources that we possibly can this weekend and call upon her a couple of times. Occasionally you'll need to go in after a launch and spend a half an hour, every couple of days, just making sure that you're reaching that person, making sure you don't need to do any tweaks to it. Yeah? But what it does do is it gives you freedom to go, I'm planning a busy period in my year here, and then I'm going to Bali, then I'm going to Cancun, and then I'm going to wherever it is I'm going, yeah? Or as I said to my husband yesterday, or a couple of days ago, I'd love to be able to ring up my stepchildren and the grandkids and say, you know what, we're all going to Bali. Let's all just get on a little plane and go together and have a family holiday. Like, could you imagine doing that? To be able to organise that for them, to be able to say, I've done that. Some of you might want, as we're going to do, separate cabins in a little bit away, but to be able to get them on a plane and take them, how cool would that be? And not have to stress about it? Maybe stress when you get there. All right, life wasn't always like this, yeah? This all sounds like an amazing dream. But for me, it took near death for me to wake up and go, I'm just doing this wellness practitioner thing the wrong way. Yeah. I had been diagnosed when I was in my early 20s with multiple autoimmune diseases, and that had progressed for about 20 or 30 years. I was in and out of hospital for a number of years, on and off for about 30 years, to the point where I was 39, which is only yesterday, about 13 years ago. I had a massive stroke and I died. I had to be resuscitated numerous times and lost the right side of my body. Used hypnosis, used my CPR brain. That's how I actually developed my CPR brain training tool to actually help bring movement back to my body. I lost a lot of my vocabulary, which would surprise you, I know, because I tend to rabbit. I tend to have a lot to say all the time, but I also know when to be quiet, I promise you. But overcoming that was the hardest thing for me because I'd been a presenter on stage, I'd always worked with audiences, and all of a sudden I was finding it hard to find words. Half my vocabulary had gone. I will, just as a caveat for this weekend, occasionally I do have a little mini seizure. I've been left as an epileptic, and it's just a standing seizure where my brain stops and I don't have any memory of what I've just said, and it's kind of like, most of us don't remember a lot that we have to say, but for me it's actually, there is it's kind of like a blackboard in my brain. There's just nothing. And so what I normally do is ask somebody to just prompt me to remind me what I was talking about. And then it kind of opens up and I remember again. But that's just a caveat, yeah? So that all happened. I was already a practitioner. I was working hard. I was booked out months in advance. But I didn't kind of listen. You'd think having a major stroke, yeah? You'd kind of listen and go, that's the kind of bulldozer that I needed to hear. Oh no. What that was for me was evidence that I was weak and that I needed to work harder. And so I then got well. It took me about a year or so to recover. Got well, ended up with about 3 different clinics. I had a clinic on the Sunshine Coast, I had a clinic up in Gympie, and I had an online clinic around the world. I had a contract with the Indigenous community, an organisation up on the Sunshine Coast who provided stop smoking programs to the Indigenous community, and we had a contract to supply the hypnosis to that community. So I employed about 4 practitioners, and we contracted out to 4 practitioners to handle that contract. I couldn't handle it all. Then they loved it so much, our results were so good, they beat Zyban, they beat acupuncture, they beat what's the vibrational one? Laser. And our results were so good, they actually expanded our contract to offer us the contract for all health and well-being. Oh, is that a big, big package, yeah? And what did I do? Go, yeah, sure, I'm fine, I can do that. And I had massive kidney failure, ended up in hospital with stage 4 kidney failure and nearly died. In that moment, probably about 2 weeks into being in hospital with it, and they're kind of saying, you know, we're really here debating whether we go with a transplant or we're debating whether we go with dialysis. I was actually on the dialysis machine having my plasma removed from my body because it was poisoned and having fresh frozen plasma put in. And I was sitting on that dialysis machine just thinking, girl, you got it so wrong. And I asked myself a question, and it is the best question I ever asked of myself, and I want you to ask this of yourself for most of today. Every time you think you've got the answer, I want you to stop, pause, and ask it again. Yeah? And the question was, Maggie Wild, you're an A-type personality. You're out there doing it all the time, and you think you've got to achieve. Maggie Wild, what is the kind of business that you actually do want? Because I'm giving you this warning right now, and somebody gave it to me. Be careful the monster you create. Yep. I'd created a monster. From the outside, it was incredibly successful. I was employing multiple practitioners. I had contracts with we were getting 30, 40 referrals a week. I was traveling. I was doing workshops all over the country. But I was exhausted. I was sick, and not just cold sick. I had multiple organs failing in my body. And I had to do this differently. And I was so torn because there's this huge part of me that just knows I am on this earth to do something, yeah, rather than sit on the couch and watch Netflix. I know that I am here to share wisdom. And I can't have been through everything I've been through to not do that. And I know there's some of you in this room that really get that. You can't have been through what you've been through to not help somebody else get that before they get to that Big Mac truck. Yeah? And so if I was driven still to share this message and to help people more, how could I do it in a way that didn't harm me, that didn't harm my body, that gave me time with my family, that gave me peace of mind, that gave me healthy kidneys and a healthy heart? Yeah? And I asked myself that question, and I asked it for at least 2 weeks every day. No matter what answer I get, I'd write it down and I'd ask it again. I'd write it down, I'd ask it again. I'd write it down and I'd ask it again. And I came up with this model. And this is the model I have used ever since. And I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes at the beginning. Hell yeah, I did. I made some incredibly expensive mistakes. Yeah, wasted a lot of money because I didn't know what I was asking for. I also made some mistakes where I started producing things, products and things that took too much of my time again. And then I stopped and would actually close those programs down. I'd give people their money back and say, actually, because this doesn't fit my business and model of the world. So it's taken me a good 6 years to get that model and tweak it. And that's really the kind of model I want to present to you today. So it's called the scale model. It is about systemization. So it's so that I could still operate and money could still come in, even if I had time off. Yeah? Like I went on honeymoon and I earned $18,000. If I want to go away with my family and take them to Bali, I want to know that I can still have money coming into my bank account. It has credibility, because to do what I wanted to do, I needed to have some kind of credibility out there in the marketplace. And so it's about wanting a profile that would attract a larger niched global audience. Cool, and we'll go into more detail with that over the coming days. It needed to have automated products that didn't rely on my time once they were set up. I knew it would take time to set up. I knew I had to outsource a lot of that because I didn't want to become a tech head. Hey, the thought of hooking up a landing page to a MailChimp, to a this, to a that makes me go, I want to be sick. Yeah? So I knew I had to outsource that, but I made the wrong choices when I first started. I outsourced to some people that promised me the world and delivered jack. Yeah, I made lots and lots and lots of expensive mistakes, but also lots of technical mistakes because I didn't know the right questions to ask. But by having an automated business with automated products, I could then systemize it and bring in money even while I was on holiday, or God forbid if something else happened. Yeah, and you know, we had that case a couple of years ago. My husband had a burst appendix and he nearly died, and so there was a long time where he was in hospital, in and out of hospital over a 3-month period, and so there was a long time where I needed time off work to just help manage that system and look after him. And so knowing that my business could function still, yeah, even in times like that. Leverage, so that I could do the one-to-many, not just one-to-one, I could do one-to-many. So that means workshops like this where I could be teaching multiple people at the same time, or webinars. Nowadays, the system's out there. Who's done a webinar before? Do you all know, who doesn't know what a webinar is? Anyone in the room? So you all kind of know, yeah? So it's obviously a way to get your message out there and teach and educate where you are just talking to 10, 50, 100, 1,000, 10,000 people around the world at the same time. Is that one to many? Do you think that's clever? You're just teaching it once, but you're teaching it to multiple people. And then our last part of the model is everywhere, anytime, okay? If you can be everywhere, anytime, oh my God, the difference you can make in the world. Now, if it's just you can't really do it, can you? But if you've got a book out there, like for instance, my Hollywood actress, I didn't even know this Hollywood actress, I didn't know who she was, but my book was out there everywhere. Yeah? And 5 years after she bought it, she rang me. She's been working with me ever since. So being able to have your products, your courses out there everywhere, anytime for anyone to access. Courses that are available 24/7 to access. So you can be in bed doing sleepy time and somebody and somewhere in the world is being inspired by your voice. My hubby tells me that there's thousands of people going to bed with Maggie Wilde every night. I go, yeah, having a wild time. he does call me the wild thing, so I'm wondering, yeah. But does that make sense? Yeah. Somewhere on someone you've never met on the other side of the world can be inspired by your message. That's crazy stuff now. And that used to be only available to huge organizations who could afford, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to produce online courses, yeah? Nowadays, it's available and it's cost effective for everyone. You just gotta have the patience and the know-how to ask the right questions, get the right strategies, and do the work. Take the action. So that's the actual model. It starts with the basis of it as a book in the center. And I use a book. There are many things. Some people say, why don't you start with the online course, or why don't you start with this, or why don't you start with that? I actually choose a book because the book still to this day has the most credibility factor. If the first thing that you produce is an online course, people go, well, who's this? Why am I going to spend $300 on a course that, who is she? Who is he? Yeah? So the book gives you thud factor, credibility factor. You pop a book down on the table and you go, there's my book. Yeah? And you instantly have some kind of credibility. So the basis of it is the book. It gives you the credibility, and if I look at my scale model, each of these steps in it fit somewhere into the scale model. So it gives you credibility, it gives me the 0 to many leverage, because what it's doing is, if 50 people a day somewhere in the world are buying my book, 50 people are being touched in some way by my message. Cool? Then that everywhere, every time, anytime factor, okay? Online courses from the book, you then convert that into, because you've got an immediate segue, you've got an upsell as well. So you've actually got buy the book, or get the book free, the ebook free, and then buy the book from there, whatever way you do it. We'll talk about all those kind of funnels on day 3. So you develop it into an online course, which gives you the automation. So it not just automates the income, it also automates the delivery. So the course, somebody buys it. Somehow there is magic fairies in the world that when somebody puts their credit card into my sales page, some little fairy somehow sends them a course. They get access and they get their links, and I get the money, and then they get all of the follow-up stuff. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. It's fantastic. But that's the whole point. We don't need to know the nitty-gritty. We just need to ask somebody who knows the nitty-gritty how to do it for them to do it. Cool? But what most of us do is we never get anywhere with this because we go, I don't know how to do that. And I fell into that trap for such a long time. It was, I should know how to do all of this. No, you need to know who to ask to do all of this. So it's the how, the who, not the how. It's systemized, it's leveraged, people can access it 24/7, your message is out there 24/7, and it's the 0 to many model. So you're reaching unlimited amount of people at that time. There's also then the kind of semi-automated, semi-interaction stuff with live webinars, or then recording them, and then it becomes automated because you're replaying them on automation systems. So you do the work once, and then you continue to earn from it in a way. And I'll show you a system that I use for this in what I call a beta trial group, where you actually sell a beta group. You're openly telling somebody this is a new course and I'm in the beta model, I'm in the beta stage, yeah? And you sell them the beta price for it. You record it live, you get it edited together, and then it becomes the online course and you sell it ongoing. So you sell before you even build the course. How cool would that be? Getting the money before you even do the work. Cool. It is automated income. It has naught to many model and the naught to one model. It is leveraged, yeah, and it's accessible 24/7 once it's in the replay stage. So it's meeting my scale model at all levels. There's workshops and tours. If you still want to do this, yeah, there are tours. I'll show you a couple of ladies who I've worked with who have been, one particular lady who's been all over the world. She never dreamed of it. And yet last year she did a tour in Italy. She did a tour in East Coast America. She did a tour in Hong Kong, Singapore, all of the Asian countries, all over Australia. She never dreamed she'd be able to do that. Yeah? And then she did a webinar, her first webinar, as a joint venture with another company, 800 people online. How cool. Now, again, caveats to that, that takes commitment and action and willingness to go out and make those joint ventures, speak to the people that can make that happen in your industry, and not be afraid of competition, embrace competition. The person that she did the joint venture with, most of us would have sat there and gone, oh my God, they're her competition. Why would you want to do anything with them? Yeah, but it was a win-win for both of them. You've got to think outside of the box. This is going to provide you the income systemized, and it's a one-to-many model, so you're reaching more than one person at a time. Keynote speaking. From this, and certainly a lot of my practitioners now are being asked to speak at all the associations. They're being asked to speak in corporates. We're speaking at the ADICO Centre as part of a charity that I'm with. We actually get to go into all their corporate offices and teach them about stress management to avoid prevention of suicide, because a number of their staff suicided. Like, there's so much that you can do with this, dolls, yeah? So much. That's systemized. It's income that is all systemized. It's one-to-many and it's everywhere again. JVs, joint ventures, licensing agreements, and PLR. Does anyone know what PLR or not know what PLR actually is? Joint ventures, so getting together with somebody of like minds and actually doing a win-win where you share the profits and you both market the program. Yep. PLR is private. It's kind of white labeling. So it's a product that you build that is non-branded, and you can sell that to other people to put their branding on. Oh my God. Yeah? Like, I actually got approached the other day from a chap on LinkedIn who has a white label fitness course. And it's an 8-module online fitness course. The quality is astounding. And he will white label it to anyone. I have a weight loss online course and an emotional eating online course. I'm not a fitness specialist. I'm not a personal trainer, yeah? But he's got a personal trainer fitness specialist course that he will allow me to put all of my branding on, make it my course, and I just buy the rights to use it. Imagine if you had a course, like if you were talking about the Pilates industry. Yeah, imagine you have a course that you create, that you allow others to put their branding on. You can also then upload your own individual welcome videos and things as well. So there's room to personalize it and make it your real course. But you haven't done the hard graft because you're not the specialist in that area, whatever it is. Private label rights. You can get private label rights, books, program. You can buy lots and lots of stuff on private label rights. Mind you, a lot of it is terrible. There's some really, really bad stuff out there. So you have to be very wise in what you're buying if you do that and do a lot of research. But a lot of it can be actually quite good, or at least adaptable, yeah, to what you really need. Sometimes that you just need the inspiration to do that. Sometimes I will actually buy, if I am lacking inspiration for, I need to write my next 20 blogs or something, then I will actually buy white label articles on a particular topic and throw them all out, but just get inspired. I look at the headings and I just get inspired. Oh yes, I can write something. Oh yes, and it helps stimulate inspiration.
How do you get them?
just online. If you just Google PLR, private label, or white label, private licensing rights, there's lots of names for it. But PLR is probably the big one for articles and things like that. Getting media and networks, okay? Really building your networks in industry as well as building your audience networks. And that's what having the book does for you. It takes that to the whole next level. So, there are many, many different other things you could add to this model. I promise you, it is unlimited. And I had lots of other things in it. But when I kept coming back to what's the kind of business I want to create, I kept coming back to that didn't create the lifestyle that I wanted. It was making me too stressed. It was making me too busy. It was taking up too much of my time, or it was this or it was that. And so what I've come back to is systemized these systems so that the products that I have fit into this system, and I get to choose which ones I want to do and which ones I don't. So now currently I think I have 9 active online courses. I have another 2 that I've already produced that I haven't made active as yet. And I just stagger the launches because I don't want to be overwhelmed anymore. I just stagger the launches, and I think, well, actually I'll do 2 launches a year. That will give me space in between. I can do that. I can recover from that. That'll give me time for my body to recover. And I still have to be aware I have, diagnosis of autoimmune diseases. And so I have to be kind to my body. So I plan my years out in those stages. Okay? And so this model for me works. I'm not saying that this is your model. What I'm saying to you is this is the potential for a model you could use. You can pick and choose and say, you know what, I don't want to do keynote speaking. I don't want to do live workshops. But I just want a course and a book. That's all I want. So you just take that part and you package that up in a way that you can automate and systemize for you. So you don't have to do all of this. Yeah? You just choose the bits of it that work for you. So looking at that, does anyone now have kind of an idea of what they think? Remember, this is only your first initial, what kind of business do I want? You're going to have to think it and rethink it and rethink it. Anyone want to share what they think they might like to do?
I have already written a book.
This is beautiful, Gabrielle.
I'm Gabrielle. I have already written a book, and then one of them, I sold 300, and then I have another 100 at home. So it's...
Can we just pause there for a minute? Congratulations, you're an author. You've sold 300 books, which is 300 more than about 90% of other authors. Yeah. I spoke to one last night. She produced it on her own, and I spoke to her and said, how's it going? She'd sold 10 copies, and she was a bit devastated, so she's been giving them away. Yeah, so 300 copies, I am an author. Whoa! Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
It's a personal story. Now, this is absolutely amazing because I have been looking for doing courses online, but I just don't know how to start, like you said. And it's all a little bit overwhelming. Plus, I never had a launch because I thought, people are just going to buy my book, and after that, what I'm going to do. So this is absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Well, you see, I think we're doing something like this in around November, and I'm doing a big book launch gala for multiple authors. So maybe, just maybe, you might want to do. You can relaunch your book anytime. Yeah? Go and put it in for an award, win an award, and relaunch it as the award-winning book. Yeah? Just because it's a year old doesn't make it something you can't relaunch every time. Bring life back to it. Your life back to it.
Why don't you restart? I don't know, but that's...
Well, I hope by the end of the weekend you're going, yes, I'm going to do a book launch gala. Woo! Yeah? Deal. So I started with the book and 1 online course. That's all I did. Well, actually, I started with the book. I didn't even have an online course. I did the book first. Yeah? And once I'd done the book, I started thinking about it. I started to get calls from people saying, do you have an online version of this? Do you have the ebook? Do you have the audio book? Do you have the... And so I started thinking, oh, well, maybe I should create a course around it. So I produced a course for the end user called Emotional Eating Solutions. That's the one we launched. That was my first ever course. And then I had practitioners going, oh, I quite like that course. And so I just tweaked it slightly, and the same course became a practitioner model that I just added live webinars to coach them as a practitioner on it. Dual win, hello? Yeah. Didn't have to do the work again. That's the key. So that's it. It's about choosing the bit that works for you and starting in one place. Today, we're all going to start with a book. Now, whether you want to produce a paperback or not is irrelevant. We're going to start with a book that can be anything. It can be an online course. If you don't want to have a book, you just want to have a little manual with your course. It can be an ebook. It can be multiple blog kind of ebooks that become a big book later on. It can be absolutely anything. The first thing is just getting the structure out of our head onto paper so we know where to start. Then we're going to talk topics. How to get the right topic, how to be sure that we're actually... The thing that you think you might want to write might actually not be what the world wants to buy. So you think you've got this great idea, but I'm going to ask you to start not with the idea and the topic. I'm going to turn it on its head, and I'm going to ask you to start with, why do you want to write the book? First, what's the book going to do for you? Given that, we have to take all assumptions that you're going to write the best damn book that you could possibly ever write, and it's going to help the most amazing people. Yep? So that's a given, that the book is going to be absolutely fantastic. So for the moment, I want you to take your attention off the book, and I want you to put your attention on, why do I want to write a book? What's the purpose for me for writing a book? What do I want to get out of it? And we're going to go into detail with that. Then we look at our audience. We don't yet look at the topic even yet. We look at, who do we want to write to? Given that we want to achieve this outcome, who do I need to write to get that outcome? And then once we know that we've got our why and we also know the who, we can then decide what's the what that who needs to know. Because the why and the who, if we don't have those first, most people go, oh my God, I know so much about weight loss. I'm going to write a book on weight loss. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be fabulous and the whole world's going to buy it. And yes, well, they might, okay? But it might take you about 50 years and about 20,000 other books, because normally your first book isn't the most successful. It becomes successful after your second or third book, okay? So you might be waiting a very long time. Most people, when they don't get success in their first one, they go, oh, I'm a failure as an author. Yeah? And they give up. So what we want to do is turn it on its head completely. We don't want to start with the what am I going to write? We want to start with, why do I want to write it? What's it going to do for me? What's it going to achieve for me personally and my business? Who do I want to write to? And we get that right. We find out who they are. We find out what they want and how we can tweak our expertise to that. Does that make sense? Then, once you've established a little bit, who'd like to get maybe 10 grand a month coming in on automation? Would that be kind of pleasant? Even 5 grand. Yeah, just 5 grand a month that's coming in while you're doing a couple of days a week in clinic, or 5 or 6 days a week in clinic, whatever it is, but you know that there's a solid 5 grand a week coming in just by selling your wisdom and your expertise. Once you've got that stability, our financial advisor calls it the 3 legs of the stool. Yeah? Once you've got your 3 legs of the stool firmly planted, then write your dream passion project. Yeah? Get the legs of the stool in place so that you can write your passion project, not kill yourself, not burn yourself out, and not disappoint yourself so you never get it out there. Yeah? What we want to do is do a combination. Now, if it turns out that your passion project fits your why and it fits your who, it comes together as a magic puzzle. But if it doesn't, we have to be open to the fact that maybe, just maybe, we might need to tweak our what at first.